This is the Dark Psychology Signals Atlas. In this series, we map the hidden mechanisms of influence and control. Today, we're decoding a signal that is incredibly powerful but often goes completely unnoticed: the unnerving power of calmness.
It's a really unsettling question, isn't it? Think about it. In a moment of pure chaos, when everyone else is panicking, one person remains perfectly still. And in that instant, you can feel the entire power dynamic in the room just shift and bend right toward them. So why does that happen? Let's break it down.
The answer on the surface is pretty simple, but its effects are incredibly far-reaching. You see, our subconscious mind doesn't sit there and analyze power logically. It just reacts to signals. And the signal of stillness, right in a moment of intense pressure, is one of the most powerful signals there is.
So, let's really dig into this signal. Now, this isn't about some tactic that a person learns from a book. This is an observable, psychological reality that explains why stillness is subconsciously interpreted as a form of dominance.
This right here is where things get really interesting. Most of us have this idea that power announces itself, right? That it's loud and forceful. But the psychological reality is that real power isn't announced, it's felt. It's inferred from the emotional effect that one person has on everyone else. A calm demeanor, that lack of a visible reaction, well, it creates this powerful emotional vacuum, and everyone else around them feels this deep urge to fill that void with assumptions of hidden strength.
And this signal isn't just a random, one-off event. Not at all. It repeats itself in very predictable patterns, especially in high-stakes environments. You see it everywhere, from boardrooms to family arguments. So let's examine these patterns.
We can actually watch this signal operate through three very distinct patterns. First, the way it creates a perception of threat. Second, how it uses unpredictability as leverage. And finally, the pure social disruption that is caused by just unflinching calm.
So let's look at the first pattern. When somebody stays emotionally neutral in a really tense situation, they're creating ambiguity. You can't read them. You don't know what they're going to do next. And that lack of data forces our brains into a state of caution. We automatically keep our distance. We become more respectful. The crucial point here is that our mind defaults to assuming capability when it can't find any other information. It's a primal survival instinct kicking in.
And this leads us directly into the second pattern, unpredictability. Think about it. An emotionally readable person is basically an open book. You can anticipate their reactions, which means you can exploit their strategy. They are, in a very real sense, inviting others to control them. But the opaque person, they're a black box. Their ambiguous reactions completely disrupt everybody else's planning, making them almost impossible to manage or challenge safely.
And this quote really gets to the heart of it. If you cannot predict someone's next move, you can't risk provoking them. Their lack of a clear reaction is subconsciously processed not as weakness, but as a genuine form of dominance.
The third pattern is maybe the most unsettling of all. During a crisis, we have these unwritten social scripts we're all supposed to follow. We expect anxiety, anger, fear. Unflinching calm just shatters those scripts. When someone doesn't react the way they should, say they stay completely composed while getting terrible news in a meeting, everyone else is forced to wonder why. And their minds immediately start projecting explanations. They must have some hidden leverage. They must know something that we don't. They seem totally insulated from the consequences that are affecting everyone else.
So, what is the subconscious mechanism that's driving all of this? What's the engine running under the surface that produces these reactions? We can call it the ambiguity engine.
The process is called subconscious inference. Our brain is a pattern matching machine, and it absolutely hates a vacuum. When it lacks clear emotional data from someone in a tense situation, it doesn't just wait around. It immediately starts filling in the blanks. And in the context of a potential threat, its default assumption is one of capability. It assumes the calm person has a very good reason to be so calm.
This visualizes it perfectly. An expected emotional reaction, even if it's an angry one, is data. The brain can process it, it can categorize the threat as relatively low because it's predictable. But no reaction? That lack of data sends the brain's threat assessment system into complete overdrive. The potential threat is suddenly assessed as high, precisely because it's an unknown.
So, once you understand this mechanism, you start to see the heavy cost paid by those who don't. It's the cost of being emotionally transparent when the stakes are high. It's the cost of readability.
To put it simply, the unaware individual is readable. Their fear, their anger, their anxiety, it's all right there on the surface for everyone to see.
And this predictability makes them manageable, it makes them controllable, and ultimately, it makes them vulnerable to anyone who understands how to read and use those emotional signals.
So what's the alternative? This isn't about learning some cheap tactics to seem powerful. It's about a fundamental shift in perception. It is the perception advantage.
The psychologically aware individual sees the situation with so much more clarity. When they encounter that calm person in a crisis, they don't just see someone who's unflappable. No, they see the signal being broadcast. They understand the power dynamic being created by that stillness, and because of that, they are far less susceptible to its intimidating effect.
Now, this entire analysis isn't just observational. It brings us to a point of self-reflection. We're going to end this explainer by turning that analytical lens directly on you.
First question, how do people feel around you? And I'm not talking about what you intend or what you say. What is the actual emotional impact you have on other people, especially when things are under pressure? Do they feel at ease around you, or do they suddenly become cautious?
And the second question, are you easy to read? Is your emotional strategy an open book for anyone to just look at, analyze, and potentially exploit?
And finally, the most crucial question of all. Think about the last time you were expected to react, with anger, with fear, with excitement, and you chose not to. What happened in that silence? What did you see shift in the people around you? That right there, that's where the signal lives.